leader for global quality at Ford Motor Company and reports directly into Bennie. And he has been a wealth of information for us in the past here. He's an ASQ fellow. He's made numerous presentations for ASQ, been heavily involved with the automotive division in Arbor section in the past. He's well known to most of you here. And so I wanted to have him introduce our main speaker for us. And at this time, Jay, would you come up here and do that?
Okay. Thank you, Steve, and also thank Arbor section and Detroit section and all the motor division having us tonight. So it's my pleasure and also honor to introduce Mr. Bennie Fowler, and Bennie is our global quality, group vice president for global quality and the new model launch. All of the new programs, all of quality across the Ford global is at the Bennie's division. And Bennie's experience include plant manager and then VP for advanced manufacturing, also executive director for North American product development, and also chief operating officer over Jetport Lateral. His experience really spanned a wide range of company. So over the last 10 years, and Bennie has led quality transformation at the Ford Motor Company. And you will see the sound result here. It's going to show that. Also, last 10 years, I had the opportunity to travel with the Bennie around the Ford globe and all the facility, and you can feel his leadership and the presence at every corner of whatever the facility would have there. The people just respect his knowledge, his passion, he drive the quality improvement for our customers. So without ado, and just let's work on Mr. Bennie Fowler.
So, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to make sure you can all hear me. I think this is probably my third or fourth time with you. And almost every time I get a chance to come talk to you, you guys, I just want to let you know you make me nervous. Because, I mean, obviously, this title, Transforming Knowledge into Sustainable Business Results, it means you actually have to know something about quality. And one of the things that I've been blessed to do is to be with you, to study with you, to fellowship with you, to have conversations with you. And I have to say that it's been one of the true blessings for me to be able to share time with you. So I want to thank you for that. The other thing is, Jay has certainly been very humble in his recognition of himself. And when I take you through the information that we're going to go through, the discussions that we've had, the journey around the world, you cannot, I could not, we could not, Ford Motor could not have made the progress that we made without the dedication and the leadership of Dr. J. Joe. And so for you, all of you guys don't know that, he stops planes on tarmacs if somebody's late for a plane. And I mean, if we tell you some of the stories that we've been through around the world, it will just amaze you. So just start the discussion today, transforming knowledge into sustainable business results. And this is something that's very near and dear to my heart. And what I really wanted to really kind of share with you is kind of a macro perspective on what I've been up to as a quality professional, or trying to convert to become a quality professional. What I've learned about being in this role, and I know being in your role, it's not easy to get people to think about quality every day in every way. So there's been a a tremendous remaking of myself as a leader trying to affect change in a large institution like Ford. And I really want to talk to you about some of the things that I've learned. I didn't know all of these things when I started. There are some things that I thought I knew, and there are things that I'd like to share with you as a set of quality professionals. I always like to start the discussion that I have with this mirror. And there are some words that I'd like to kind of share with you because we will position the enormity of the challenge that I've been presented with. And I can't say that I knew the enormity of the challenge when I began this journey at Ford. And just to think about this, I'll start. This is an article from the Saturday Evening Post. And it's entitled, "Opening the Highways to All Mankind." And it goes something like this. It's this universal idea and belief that riding on the highway should be in the reach of all customers. An organization to render any service so widely useful must be large in scope as well as great in purpose. Naturally, it requires a large program to carry this out. It is this thought that has been the stimulus and the inspiration to the Ford organization's growth. That has been the incentive of developing inexhaustible resources, boundless facilities, and an industrial organization which is the greatest the world has ever known. In accomplishing its aim, the Ford Institution has never been daunted by the size or the difficulty of any task. Through this organization, the motor car is making life easier, pleasanter, and more worthwhile, has been made available to millions. Ford views this situation less today with pride and great achievement than with the sincere and sober realization of a new and larger opportunity to service mankind. Now, if you think about that, this is Henry Ford's vision, opening the highways to all mankind. And what I want to do now is just bring this home to you in terms of what we've been up to. And think about this now in the role of quality and new model launch for Ford. Here's some things to think about. We have now 101 manufacturing locations around the world. We have 9 product development centers. We do business with 5,000 suppliers in 60 countries on 6 continents, all having to come together to deliver and open the highways to mankind. And every time I go through those kinds of numbers, and I think about the enormity of the challenge of bringing about the change, when I get to the end and I show you 2 or 3 slides just on the result, I have to sometimes say I've been in a dream, because it's been the challenge of a lifetime. And if I think about all of the things that Jay had to say, being in manufacturing for 20 plus years, being in product development 5 years, being a chief operating officer, being a vice president, I'm glad I did all of that because it served as the fuel or the learning to help me assimilate what's necessary in order to operate at this level. In the last 10 years, I've been involved in over 950 vehicle launches, 163 powertrain launches. We've closed 19 semi-plants and we've opened up 19 new ones in different places, in China, in India, in Russia, where the markets are going. The enormity of the challenge has been immense. The one thing that I will say to you is, if you think about this, you take a look at that picture on the left, that is the way the world used to look. Horse and buggies, kind of log jammed in there, and probably biggest thing we have to worry about is whether there's enough hooper scoopers around. And again, there was a thought process that electrification was the answer to that. And most of you who are around the industry know electrification is becoming a really big deal. Autonomous vehicles are becoming a really big deal. You know, vehicles can do almost everything except for fly today, and you know, there's some rules that may happen soon. So the only thing we can really count on as quality professionals is that things are going to change. They've changed 5 or 6 times since I've been in this role, and based upon everything that I know that we're doing, it's going to change again, and then it's going to change again. So the one thing that we have to be prepared for is demands change. I put this here because here's another learning for me. Because I'm not talking to you about a lot about statistics, because you'll likely be better than I would ever be at that. What I'm talking to you about are the things that I'm learning about being a quality professional. And this card means the plan, and this has been in the book, The American Icon. And I had the opportunity to be on the leadership team with Alan Mulally. And one of the things you learn from a leader like that, a transformational leader like that, it's a lot of things you learn. And you can talk about all the technical things in the world that you can learn. But the greatest of which would be 2 things. First, the desire to serve. And as a quality professional, I have to resign myself because the first 30 years of my career, I was on the operations side. The last 10, I've been on the support side and the staff function. And believe me, that's been like an out-of-body experience for me, making that transition from being an operating to a support of operations. But one thing that is important, if you're in the world of quality, the operating teams know whether you know it or not, by the way you conversate with them, by the way you talk to them about their business, their language, their thought process, what they're trying to get done. It's an important piece. The other part is expected behaviors. And the one that we highlighted here is really centered around the one thing that my organization has been about, and that's building functional and technical expertise. That's not just for the quality function, but that's for every function that we support and for. So if you really want to be good, think of this as any great team that you could imagine. Lions, Duino, Broncos, some of these kind of teams that win all the time. What you know about those organizations is they understand their assignments and they execute. And that's one of the biggest things. So if you look at this, know and have a passion for your customers. You're going to see this word in blue a lot, customers. When you go through everything I'm going to talk to you about, customers, being customer-centric. It's easier to say than it is to do. Because people will always have opinions about what needs to be done. But what we've been trying to do is to make sure that the things that we do are customer focused. Demonstrate and build functional and technical excellence. What I'm going to flash for you, not really talk to you a lot of details, I'm going to show you 3 major tools that we've used in the transformation of 4. They're not complex things, but they're functional things that change the way people think. What I've learned about this whole journey in terms of helping an organization deliver quality, it's about their abilities to influence. If I go into a chief executive and I start talking to him about X bar and R charts, he's likely to glaze over. If I go in and start talking to him about making a profit, improving his quality, gaining more market share, it's likely I might get his attention. So the discussion that I'm wanting to have or have been having centers around just that. Now, one of the big things at Ford, I call this a company quality operating system. A company quality operating system. Now, this is me reframing my learnings now. And I want to just kind of break this down a little bit because, remember I said, I didn't know all of this when I went into the role. Because if you were to talk to me about manufacturing, I could have talked to you about that. I could have talked to you about product development because I started to get a little bit more of an understanding as I became a chief operating officer. But in this case, you start to learn about the discussions and the meetings that you're in together and the purpose of it. So for example, at the top of this, you say strategy meeting, product meeting. There are names for those at Ford. For the purpose of this discussion, we didn't put those there. Because it really, maybe it matters, but for this purposes, we kind of kept that out. What I really wanted to talk to you about is this start of everything, the start of quality, the area where we are working the hardest on is the strategy area. I mean, because the strategy is about making decisions. And when I first came in this role, think about this, we had Jaguar, Land Rover, Aston Martin, Volvo, Mazda, as a part of the Ford umbrella. Today we have Ford and Lincoln. And there's a few other things which I'll talk to you about. And you really have to go through and you have to make decisions about what you want to be. And then it really has to become what everything is about. So the strategy will form the product decision. So when we're talking strategy, we're talking about target markets, market segments, when are you going to enter, are you going to exit, what platforms you have, platform sharing, commonality, complexity, simplification. All of that goes into your strategy discussion. Make the decisions. Then that informs the product, the processes that you have to use to bring it out and improve your execution, the people strategy, and then if you have results, it'll change your perception. If you have none, it won't, and people will talk about it. And if you think about this, just the enormity of it, when I came back to North America in 2005, I think we were on track to lose about $8 billion. And I think last year we probably made close to 10. So this transformation I'm talking about is large in scope. It's a $20 billion turnaround. When I went to Jaguar, it was like losing $250 million. By the time I got back, it was $750 million. So you learn a lot about things changing and making decisions. So what I'm sharing with you is you have to go through that to learn. The enormity of that is a challenge. It has been the greatest challenge of a lifetime. Talking about these meetings that we're in. And a lot of times, you could get to the point where you say, I'm in a lot of meetings. None of you have probably ever said that. But you know, for me, every one of these meetings I went into gave me two opportunities. I learned from one of the best leaders in the world, his point of view, and what he had to say about it. Why this was important. I couldn't wait a lot of times to get back to the meeting, simply because I just wanted to learn what the next concept was. We learned about how to create value, what the importance of it was. And sometimes you think you know, but when the actual financial people start to break that down, you'll know how much you really know. Once you know that, these simple things, the things that you are able to say as a quality professional will allow you to affect change in a different way. So I put this up there humbly to say it's still something I'm learning about. It's still something that I study about. People say, well, you know, Bennie studies all the time. I do, because I know that if you're going to be a professional, at this level, top 1% or 10% in a company, you might want to do something to retain your competence if you want to remain. And I've been with this world-class team for about 2 years. For all of what I've talked to you about, it's been a tremendous learning. My organization, if you think about the enormity of the challenge, this would never, ever be done by one individual. Never, ever be done by one individual. And the way we're organized, and that role there, that's the executive technical fellow, Jay, he's in the middle and the heart of it. I just want to say to you, and I'm going to say this again, this would not be done unless you have a strong professional operator helping you get the enormity of this challenge organized. Jay and his team do that for me, and it allows me to do a lot of other things. It leaves me free to mentally move around the cabinet. And when I get in trouble, I'm calling 1-800-JAY-JOE. And he's there. Think about this now. So remember what I said to you, and there might be some subtleties here where it says global operation and our corporate staff, and then global markets. So this is the way the company has evolved, with Jim Hackett leading the entire organization. And you see, you still have global markets, but you see that subtly called mobility. There's more under that, which I won't be talking about tonight. But what it signals is that the organization is still learning and is growing and is adapting to the changing environment around it. And we must change with it as quality professionals. Before, I didn't have that mobility space up there on a quality organization, but when the announcement with Marcy Claiborne as our mobility leader for the globe, obviously that means we must change with it. And so does the organization in the way it is. There's a concept down at the bottom called driving standardization to improve fitness. You can't drive standardization for standardization's sake. Where things must be different, they must be different, to serve the markets that you're in. However, one of the things that we are acutely aware of is that we're a very capital intensive business, so things that you can standardize, you should do. And the whole idea around my organization, it has been to improve the fitness of the organization. And one small example of that Jay and his team has helped us lead, if you take our product development lead time, the length of time it takes to do a program, we've taken a year out of the product development cycle. Had we not done that, it's likely that we would not be here today as a company in the form that it's in. We've gone from 27 platforms to 10. It's likely that had not been done, we would not be here. I talked to you about the planning, restructuring, and repositioning in markets that we think are going to grow. And those are black bets that you have to place it early, and that's informed by your strategy. When all those changes are made as a quality professional, you have to know, and we have to manage to change. So, from a quality perspective, my strategy for quality is the same as what the company says. Improve the product, develop products that customers want. We're going to have